Hey, Dr. Dave here. We're at Longport Media in Linwood, WOND 1400 AM. It's Thursday on the radio on the Bob Burns in your afternoon show every Thursday from 2 to 3. So just thought I'd record a little clip of today's show and we'll see what comes up. I might be a little far in the back there, but hopefully you can hear the audio and we'll have some fun.
All right, we're back. We're Dr. David Calabro from, he's a chiropractor. It's the Calabro Chiropractic and Wellness Center, which is at suite number 53 in Central Square. His phone number there is 609-653-9501. Go ask Alice. I think she'll know. And Sally Round the Roses will probably answer the phone. So it's always interesting. Always interesting. So what do you got?
Never a dull moment.
Never a dull moment. What do you got going on over there?
I came across some articles yesterday, and I thought they were interesting. I thought I'd like to spread this information around.
All right.
This is called Singulair, and I'm going to maybe pronounce this part of it wrong, but Singulair and Montelocast asthma medication linked to psychotic episodes in children to be sold with warnings. Sold with warnings, not taken off the market. It's just gonna be sold with warnings.
You may become crazy if you take this.
And I'm curious how big the warning's gonna be. Is it gonna be like little small print where you can't really see it, or what?
But it's gonna be on the box that you throw away, right?
This is a popular asthma tablet linked to cases of suicidal thoughts and depression in children. Will now be sold with side effect warnings inside its packaging. That's where inside its packaging. So who really reads that? They take no one, right? So the key points to this article are warnings about side effects of Singulair and Montelocast to be included in boxes. Advice to be added to education for health professionals. Parents happy but say measures don't go far enough. So the drug known as Singulair is prescribed for children aged 2 to 14 with frequent, intermittent, and mild persistent or exercise-induced asthma. In 2017, the ABC revealed parental concerns about the medication. Vanessa Selleck's son, Harrison, had been taking the drug since he was 2 years old and suffered serious behavioral changes. Harrison was 4 years old when he started making comments about wanting to die, wishing that he was dead, and that he was a piece of garbage. He had terrible self-loathing, Ms. Selleck said. It was just devastating at the time. She has been campaigning to have better warnings about the drug as well as more education for doctors. Following a review of its safety, the Therapeutic Goods Administration has decided that information about the drug's side effects should be included in boxes. I would imagine. I would hope so. The TGA also wants health authorities to include warnings and guidelines for health professionals and call for better monitoring of how many kids might be suffering serious side effects. Ms. Selleck said she was pleased with the decision but wanted the government to go further. Although these outcomes are a step in the right direction, they're not enough. This medication has been linked to death by suicide. Parents had wanted warning labels on the outside of the packaging. Warning labels are vital in ensuring patients or their careers are reminded to constantly monitor for changes in mood and behavior. Their carers are reminded to instantly monitor for changes in mood and behavior, Ms. Selleck said. Without these labels, we fear that many families will now make the link between side effects and Montelocast. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but Singulair. Harrison, who's now 12, said he was extremely disappointed that compulsory warning labels were not included. After the ABC raised the issue, many more parents spoke up about their children's experiences with the drug. Dr. Tim Greenaway, chief medical advisor to the TGA, said they were updating their advice to doctors and patients after reviewing the medical literature. We came to the conclusion that there is an association between Singulair and neuropsychiatric side effects, but we can't say it's causal, he told the ABC. He said between 2000 and December 2017, there were 167 adverse neuropsychiatric side effects in children and adolescents taking the drug. Pediatric respiratory physician Adam Jaffe from Sydney Children's Hospital said there was no way of knowing which children might suffer a reaction to the medication. He has some of his own patients off the drug because they experience serious side effects. Some of my patients complain of nightmares, tantrums, being angry or sad, and the challenge for me and the parents is to figure out whether it's the medication or the child's behavior. He stressed the majority of patients could take it safely, but said some children could suffer the psychiatric side effects. American health authorities have been investigating the safety of Singulair since 2008. following the death of a teenager there. Cody Miller, 15, took his own life after taking the drug for just 17 days. The Food and Drug Administration now requires manufacturers to put warnings about psychiatric side effects in medical information. So when ABC first raised concerns about the medication, the company behind Singulair, Merck, Sharp, and Dome said that it had been used safely by tens of millions of people around the world. Consumer medicine information is made available to patients via the TGA website or the MSD website. So here's a link just between Singulair and I guess, I'm not sure how to, I'm just not pronouncing this right, Montelecast, but Singulair, again, they're linked between psychotic episodes in children, which can result in suicide and death. Just to be
We just had a caller who said that it should be used on a case-by-case basis.
I would imagine so, yeah.
I can't imagine why they can't figure which people would be affected by it.
Well, you know, just like with anything you put in your body, whether it be medicine or whatever, you know, some of these things, I mean, they're touted as science, but they're not an exact science.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if you'll know, not you, I mean, if we'll ever know when, you know, a child reacts to a medication, or anybody, not even a child, someone reacts to a medication, or a vaccine or whatever, you know, things, how the body reacts to it. It could be an adverse reaction. That's why the list of side effects on the commercial is so long.
Yeah, the list of side effects is longer than the commercial. But, you know, that scares the hell out of me. You know, I would just as soon have the problem than have the side effects.
Right.
May cause sudden death. Well, I think I'm not dead now. Maybe I don't want to die from taking a pill.
But I know this is a medication that's used by many people. It says tens of millions here. So, you know, I mean, but the question is how many people are taking this who aren't making a link between this and psychological, you know, problems and suicide, or how many people maybe committed suicide and, you know,
had no idea.
No idea. So I don't know. That's, you know, it's scary, and as with anything, you can't just take these things blindly because your doctor says.
Should be a big warning on the bottle and on the box.
There should be one.
This should kill you.
Yeah. I mean, for me, with the amount of psychological problems, emotional issues, you know, that's going on right now, psychotic things, it's like rampant anymore. I mean, so many kids have psychological problems, depression, anxiety.
All right.
People do too, but
We'll be right back after the bottom of the hour news break. Yeah, those warnings. When you hear the stuff on TV, like the ad for the drug, the warnings are longer than what's great about the drug. And then as they're giving you warnings, they're also showing stuff at the bottom of the screen that will cause you to have all sorts of problems.
Yeah, it's you really have to pay attention to it, and you know, that's why these things are not an exact science, and they can affect people differently, and they can have adverse and serious reactions in some people.
I know you're not a guy who prescribes drugs, but how does a doctor who prescribes drugs decide whether or not he's going to give one of these new drugs to a patient?
I don't know. You know, I don't know. I guess they get their information from the drug reps, and if they happen to do any reading,
the ones who said OxyContin is addictive, right?
And you know, I think they get a lot of their information from the drug reps, and they rely on the studies that the drug reps bring in. But those are skewed studies. A lot of times they're made from the medication, the company themselves.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't know. You know, I don't read every study that comes in about medication, so
no,
but I do know that you know, some of the studies are done by the company themselves. So I don't know, maybe there needs to be a different third party that is unbiased and can really look into this stuff. And
I think they call that the FDA, right?
Well, yeah. Where does their money come from?
Yeah, let's imagine where that comes from.
Follow the money trail.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing a couple of years ago.
How many drugs, I mean, over time, I mean, I you know, Vioxx, remember Vioxx? I mean, you know, that was taken off the market for pain. It was causing, what, either heart attacks or strokes or something?
Yeah.
You know, over time, I know there are medications that were approved. Said, look how great they are, and now they're off the market. So what changed? I guess the study didn't go long enough to see what really is the adverse reaction. You know, how long do they do these? Sometimes, you know, a few months, a couple of years is not enough to see the long-term effects of how it's going to affect somebody.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they need to do it for 25 years and see what happens. But you know, I know there's books written on statistics too, like how to influence statistics and all that stuff with
Sure,
certain
yeah.
things and whatnot. So I don't know. I am a
Skeptic.
skeptic. I was trying to think of a nice word,
That's close.
but yeah, I don't know.
Skepticism.
Hey, listen, anything you put in your body can potentially be a problem, so you have to be aware of it. You know, any kind of medication, over-the-counter prescription, we know that, yeah, there's a side effect thing, and there's instruction thing in there that gives you information. I don't know if anyone ever reads those things, but or delves deeper into, you know, goes online or whatever and reads potential side effects of whatever they're taking, or interactions for that
Yeah.
matter. And I think it's up to the individual. It'll be smart for them to do that. You know, there are times where I question things that my patients come in on, and I'll say, you know what, I want you to not only talk to your doctor, but I want you to go to the pharmacy and talk to the pharmacist, because sometimes they know more than the doctors do. They
Yeah.
see what the person's on, and they might say, this is an issue. I've had that over the years, you know.
Yeah.
The pharmacist has called out some things, and they're like, you better go get this looked at and evaluated right away. There's a problem here. So be smart, be aware of what you're putting in your body and how it may be affecting you. You know,
Well, here's one for you. If aspirin was invented today, it would never be released.
I heard that. I read that. So I've read that about a lot of the over-the-counter pain remedies and over-the-counter pain medications.
Yeah.
That they would not release them as over-the-counter freely accessible because of the damage they've caused to people's kidneys and liver and intestinal tract and whatever else over the years.
Well,
so sure.
if I take aspirin, I get a serious case of hives.
Right. So I mean, again, that's a good example.
My lips swell up, my throat closes.
Yeah, so that's a good example of an adverse reaction. You know, how would a doctor know that you would have that unless it's given to you and you have a reaction?
Yeah, that's
And
right.
now it goes on your record. Oh, can't take aspirin.
Can't take aspirin. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, yeah, that's it's interesting. When I think about that, it's for a while I tried to take a baby aspirin because that's supposed to make you not have a heart attack. And every time I took a baby aspirin, I had the hives.
Yeah.
And now I have to take an antihistamine.
Because they'll say that, oh, it's only a small dose, it's a baby aspirin, but
Yeah.
look, you could still react to that, and it
did.
could still affect you. And so, you know, I think there's question even about that practice anymore, about taking that. I think now they're saying, what I've read, is that, and again, I'm not an MD, so correct me if I'm wrong, but of what I've read in some studies in literature, that practice of taking it beforehand isn't necessarily good practice. That it's really designed to be taken if someone's really has had a heart attack or a stroke. Then maybe they'd be on an aspirin regimen or something like that. But the days of saying just take it prophylactically or taking it for a quote wellness, which is an oxymoron.
Yeah.
I think the literature goes against that practice now. So I can be stand corrected. I don't want to offend anyone out there, get anyone mad, get their feathers ruffled, because I'm speaking bad about drugs. But here's another one. Drug makers stop making popular antibiotic Levaquin amid concerns about mental health side effects. Here's another one.
Really?
Mental health side effects from an antibiotic. The makers of a popular antibiotic have halted production on the drug amid safety concerns. Janssen Pharmaceutical Companies of Johnson & Johnson discontinued production of Levaquin in December 2017, including the oral and IV versions. However, Levaquin may still be available in pharmacies until 2020. The decision to discontinue Levaquin was made due to wide availability of alternative treatment options and our focus on developing innovative medicines designed to address unmet medical patient needs, a spokeswoman for Janssen in an email to RTV6. As Call 6 investigates, reported this week, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration is requiring drug label changes for fluoroquinolone antibiotics sold under brand names like Levaquin, Cipro, and Avalox. The new labels will include more prominent and consistent warnings for mental health side effects. A Janssen spokeswoman said Tuesday the company also discontinued making Floxin otic ear drops, which is also a fluoroquinolone. For several years, Call 6 investigates has been looking into potential safety issues and concerning side effects associated with fluoroquinolone antibiotics, including psychiatric problems, tendon rupture, and nerve damage. Purdue University student Shay McCarthy died in 2013 after jumping off out of a second-story window and crashing his car into a cement embankment. His mother, Heather McCarthy, said Shea was agitated and suffering mental health side effects from taking the antibiotic Levaquin. Dr. Charles Bennett with the Southern Network on Adverse Reactions said Tuesday that Janssen's decision will have little impact on public safety because other drug makers are still making the generic form known as levofloxacin. Levaquin was only about 1% of the market share and 99% was the generic. It was hard for them to make money given the lawsuits that they were facing.
Oh my gosh.
Patients sued Johnson & Johnson, accusing the company of hiding debilitating side effects of Levaquin for their own financial gain. On September 11, 2014, Bennett filed a petition with the FDA calling the federal agency to change the drug labels to better warn patients of the risks. On July 10, 2018, the FDA responded with a safety announcement in which it called for label changes on fluoroquinolones, including more prominent and consistent warnings for mental health side effects. On September 11, 2014, the petition was filed. On July 10, 2018, the FDA responded. You're talking 4 years of people potentially having these side effects and potentially having problems. I don't know why that took so long, but anyway, here's two drugs. Singulair, I guess its other name is Montelukast, and then Levaquin, an antibiotic, both linked to psychotic behavior.
So you don't know if you're sick then, right?
Yeah,
It's all in
really.
your head.
I mean, really, how does someone know? Because everyone, not everyone, I take that back. Many people right now are having these psychological issues.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what if it is a side effect? And now they're going to doctor to doctor. Now they're taking Singulair and they're put on who knows what, antidepressants,
Yeah.
ADD medication, whatever else, psychological medication for maybe a side effect.
Yeah.
And they're labeled as who know what, and they're maybe totally misdiagnosed.
Could be.
Scary.
All right, we're talking with Dr. David Calabro, who's a chiropractor, Central Square, Linwood, New Jersey. He's in suite number 53, and his phone number there is 609-653-9501. Coming to you.